brought in to be hidden under a jar or a bed? No, instead a man puts it on a stand so that all those who enter may see the light. For nothing is hidden that shall not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that shall not be known and come to light. If any man has ears to hear, let him hear. And he said to them, consider carefully what you hear and how you listen. The measure you give will be the measure you receive, and more will be given to you. To him who has understanding, still more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from him who has not, even what he thinks will be taken away. This is the wheat and the weeds, Matthew 13, 24, 30. Then Jesus presented another parable to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weed seeds among the wheat and then slipped away. So when the wheat came up and bore its grain, the weeds also appeared. The landowner's servants came and said to him, Master, did you not plant good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from? He replied, an enemy has done this. The servant said to him, then do you want us to go and pull up the weeds? But he said, no, for in pulling them up you may uproot the wheat among them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At harvest time I will tell the reapers, collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather all the wheat into my barn. Okay, so there's two very profound things, at least two very profound things going there. The first is that productivity is not linear, it's geometric or exponential. And so that's the famous Pareto principle. And so something can bring forth in abundance, and as that bringing forth makes itself manifest, it sets the stage for further abundance. And that's partly why things are unequally distributed in the world, why a minority of people has all the money, why a minority of people do the productive labor on any dimension of labor that's measurable, why some rivers have almost all the water, why some stars have almost all the mass. Like, it's a universal principle, this Pareto principle. If you have more, more will be given to you.
So the Pareto distribution says that 80% of outcomes, and that could be success, that could be workload, that could be numerical for how money is distributed, are caused by 20% at the beginning. So 20% of the people in any given field will account for 80% of the productivity, output, or resources. And so when you have these principles that you prove can hold across multiple dimensions and multiple disciplines, then you feel like we're arriving and painting. It's like you get all these mosaic pieces from different approaches, and then together they give us this sort of imperfect view of something that is an absolute or enduring evergreen set of principles. That is really the key of it.
And then with regards to the wheat and the weeds, there's an interesting dance here. Darwinian models of creativity indicate that the way creativity works is that there's a hyperproduction of potential solutions to a problem. So that would be the abundance. You can imagine that happening in a Pareto distribution manner, right? But then there has to be a selection mechanism after that. So you want a plethora of possibility. It's even what happens on the evolutionary front, and then careful selection from that. And that's what's being referred to here, is that we want a plethora, we want an abundance, we want to set the pattern of heaven in a productive dance with the possibilities of the world. Much will become manifest, disproportionately so, and then there has to be a discriminating judgment applied to that so that only the best can be harvested. And that's Christ as judge, and that's the burning sword that bars the gates to paradise. And so...
Or selection, like just selection, even in terms of Darwinian idea.
Or selection, exactly. So that's another elaboration of
the principle of grace, too, isn't it? I mean, John Paul II said, your being increases in the measure that you give it away. So there's a paradox at the very heart of the gospel, that our instinct is always to hang on to what we have. To be happy, I need, go back to our wealth, pleasure, power, honor, I need to fill myself up and hang on to them. But that's exactly how you're going to lose them. Whatever you receive as a gift, you have to give as a gift, and then it increases in you, 30, 60, and 100-fold. And then when you get that, you give it away too, and you get caught in this loop of life and abundance. And then the opposite instinct is going to cause all the trouble. And I'm clinging to what I have, and then I lose it.
You kill what you cling to.
Right. So the little you have will be taken away.
Exactly. Well, so you see, I saw in the academy, John, maybe you could comment on this. There's two kinds of professors. There's professors who cling to their ideas and want credit for them. They're not generous to their graduate students. They don't give them authorship. If they have an idea, they guard it. They feel that everybody's going to steal it. They don't share it. They're stingy. They're hard to work with. And the capability of those people to generate ideas plummets across time. Then you have the other sort, this was my advisor, who just gives every idea away. And the consequence of that is that he gets a tremendous amount of positive feedback and enthusiasm on the part of others. And neurophysiologically, that enthusiasm, that's incentive reward. It produces dopamine, and dopamine produces neural growth. And so if I share an idea with you and you're enthusiastic about that, and I regard that as rewarding, my brain will increase the number of resources devoted to the system that generated that idea. And so if you give things away and you get a positive social consequence of that, the source of the ideas itself is going to make itself more manifest. And that's the well that never runs dry.
The great modern pagan Goethe used to put it even more radically, but with an even more Christian inflection, where he said, "Sterbe und werde," die and become. And that's precisely this thought of the relinquishing of self that is in fact the key to the expansion of.
Well, the self you're relinquishing in principle would be the limited and comparatively dead old self, which you relinquish every time you have a new idea.
And it's also, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
Is the flip side. It's the positive reinstatement of that in a way.
Right. You're up. You pay for your talent with your generosity, and that's how the cosmic scales stay balanced, right?
It's also how you don't get stuck in a useless cycle of guilt around what you have in a way that becomes solipsistic and self-serving.
Right. Or that opens you up to exploitation by people who claim false victimization. Right. So, John?
I'm trying to not launch into an ongoing discussion about relevance realization.
That's definitely what this is. This is what it's talking about. I believe
it's a lot of my work, and maybe that'll come up. Well, I'll try and weave. I want to add a dimension to this. I think this is all. Sorry for the pun. Very fruitful, but I want to stop a little bit, and because I'm interested in the cog sci of parables, and the issue, there's a problem that's also implicit in why he's doing it this way. And my lesson here is